Alright, so back to this. Yeah, just another black screen video, another episode for this show, episode 10, roughly halfway through the current season, or at least what's what would you call it? What's up currently, right? Again, I believe there's 26 or 27 as per usual, right? Planned for this season, but again, we're about halfway through with what, we currently have available and what we can see. So again, right, just still, again, keeping up, the one black screen per episode. I just feel like that's easiest. That way I can kind of go over everything, I think. And I have a lot to go over this in this episode, right? Especially since this is a two-parter, between, what would you call it? It is a two-part episode, right? Or two-part, yeah. So it's part one and then part two would be the next one, which I'd make for the next one. But again, right, just, yeah, and unfortunately, with the past two videos I've needed to make, you probably know that I've kind of lost faith and lost, what would you call it? Lost faith and lost, what's the term, investment, or I guess, sort of hope in, like, season 5 in making up. It had that potential, had that chance, but unfortunately, no. And it was off to a good run, good starts, just guess they couldn't, close out or, stay committed to finish the season. And that'll kind of be reflected in this video, right, in this part. And kind of the title, as you can see by, what would you call it? The title being something along the lines of it not being permanent. I don't know if I'm going to title it, it's not permanent, or like, the changes won't be permanent or aren't permanent, right? Or it's like, it'll probably just be it's not permanent, just because, again, I'm going to be honest, and if you watch, I'm assuming you watch part 10 if you're watching this, or episode 10, lots of stuff happens in this part. The big one being, again, Kwame's choice, right? But basically that Marina and Adrian, spoiler alert, right? Marina and Adrian renounce their Miraculous, right? And then they get given to others, right? Ali, I guess, Ladybug one, and then it's what, Zoe, I believe her name was. Again, Chloe's like cousin gets the Black Hat one. And then they fight, funny enough, the dude had 5 fucking alliances. So he had 5 different, Miraculous transferred, but he still lost in the end, even against the new heroes. But the point of the episode wasn't the fight between the heroes and the villains, right? It's more so everything else that happened. So again, you have the new heroes, right? In Ali, well, I guess Ali had already been Ladybug once before, but now these are seemingly, air quotes, permanent or more cemented, I guess, changes, right? And then along with that, I guess Zoe's new using the Black Hat one. I believe she has held a Miraculous before. Just, again, it was she held the B one, because the whole point was that she replaced Chloe's Queen Bee. But again, with that, right, what that ends up coming down to is, yeah, again, so that's the big thing. That's the main focus. And again, with the whole point of that being so that, Adrian and Marinette could live out their lives normally, together, right, in a relationship, and they wouldn't need to worry or deal with the burden, as not only we have seen in this season, but also specifically in Shot Blanc, and other, what would you call it, episodes, right, time related, regarding them, what would you call it, again, having both superhero and secret identities, right, as well as, being with each other, given that they're, again, superhero identities coincide, conflict, right? So anyway, and with what that ends up coming down to is, yeah, that's in support and, for, the whole, changing of the Miraculous, right? And again, there's some other stuff that happens that I kind of want to go over. So, like, again, that I'll go over first, and then I'll, hit the elephant, which is what I brought up, or, address the elephant. But some other stuff that goes on, again, we see Adrian and Marina specifically get heartbroken. But for Adrian specifically, again, Gabriel goes to comfort him, and Natalie's like, don't take advantage of him in this state, and then because we originally see Gabriel about to send out his Akuma, right? His Monarch, but then he realizes that's Adrian, and, he calls back and de-transforms, which was a good sign at first. I was like, again, it goes with his character development, kind of actually being a genuine and caring father, good and caring father. So again, that's when after that we see him go to come for Adrian, and Natalie's like, you better not like take advantage of him. He's like, I'm not, I'm just his father. So again, he goes, sees Adrian, Adrian thought he was gonna school him for not being in school, but again, he doesn't care about that. And for him, again, he just relates or empathizes with Adrian, given that he lost his wife. And then the big thing being that, he says, like, yeah, I would be, like, much more comfortable if you wore your, like, alliance. You could, like, contact me. Again, it has things that could, like, help with, your heartbreak, right? And things along those lines. So, again, Adrian puts it on. But kind of the reveal there and what we see is that it was all just a ploy so that he could get Adrian to, wear his alliance so that he could akumatize them and give him Miraculous, which I'll say for that, it's very weird and it's very awkward because it's like the season spent, 9 episodes trying to convince you that Gabriel is genuinely changed as, like, a parent. Like, going from quite possibly the worst to a very optimal or very, what would you call it? Caring, genuine father figure. Like, there's been no real instances of malice towards him and Adrian. The only time was when, and rightfully so and fairly, was when Adrian's friends, that was still such a shady thing for them to do, when they basically completely sabotaged, Adrian's, like, parent-teacher conference and then threw fucking food at Gabriel in his white suit, right? So again, like, that was like his friends are assholes for that, but that was like the only time. So I don't know, and I don't understand why now they're showing him being, taken advantage of and again, trying to, like, go back to his old ways of, using his son, right? And then, trying to get him akumatized there, like we see in Chat Blanc, and then just whenever, he had that opportunity for it, right? It's something to where it's like, I genuinely, like, because obviously Natalie was suspicious because we know there's kind of a falling out between Natalie and Gabriel. With the big thing there being, yeah, Natalie's like, you better not do this. And I genuinely believed Gabriel wasn't going to, like, because the whole season had been showing and trying to prove otherwise. But I guess, I don't know, with the show, whatever direction it's going in, Gabriel going back to his old ways, again, it's just like, whatever. It didn't happen anyway because they specifically gave up their Miraculous, but it's like, again, like, I just don't understand why they would show it. They could have literally just kept it normal and then, not have, Gabriel try to akumatize Adrian, right? It literally could have been him trying to akumatize Marinette instead. And then the exact same thing would happen where, the Akuma wouldn't feel negative emotion and it would redirect towards who it ended up akumatizing. But simply by showing him trying to akumatize Adrian, yeah, it's like, okay, like, is this man going back on his old ways? Like, I genuinely believed and thought he had changed for the better and as a person, but it seems like he's just back to his old ways. And literally, they could have prevented this in that line of thought or mode of thinking, right, on my part, right? They could have changed Gabriel's character and prevented that from being, the outcome, or, again, they just could have prevented that by just shifting the target from Adrian to Marinette, and then it would have been the same outcome anyway since he didn't get akumatized. But without needing to incorporate that dilemma of, oh, Gabriel's still willing to akumatize his son, right? Even though he'd supposedly changed. So, again, right, it's just like, that was one of the big things, and one thing, another, small thing is that, okay, let's be fair, Adrian and Marinette's friends are kind of assholes, let's put it that way, right? Like, I would 100%, check up, obviously send Adrian, but I myself would also, check up on, like, Marinette if she was that down, right? I wouldn't just, abandon them like that. So that's first things. But second thing, and what I was surprised about is literally just brushing up on, like, Alia, again, talking with Tiki, right? And gain the Ladybug Miraculous and just seemingly, accepting that Marinette's no longer Ladybug and that she's the new one. And it's like you'd think that would be more of a deal, right? That would be like, she'd be like, wait, you're serious? She's no longer, like, gonna be, like, you'd think that would be a much bigger thing or have a bigger, have a bigger impact, especially with, we didn't even get to see fucking Zoe's reactions, right? You know, we just see Plague say, "Psst, come over here," right? And throws the freaking ring at her, and then we just see her transform next. So it's like, Lord knows what that interaction was like. But again, Alia just seemingly accepted that. She is like, you'd think that would have much more of a role of weight and or impact there, but I guess, you know, I guess it didn't, right? You know, similar to, like, you know, you'd think Adrian, you know, Gabriel changed for the better, but I guess not, right? And then again, this kind of ends up, like I had mentioned, you know, ends up leaning into the elephant, you know, for this part, right? You know, for this episode, right? Addressing the elephant in the room. Again, you know, the new air quotes Ladybug and Chat Noir. And the purpose of the title of this video, and that it's not permanent, right? I guess, you know, the other 2 points, and then with Gabriel going back on his ways, you know, and then Alia, you know, not reacting to her, you know, that not having the weights or, you know, impact that it should or would have, right? Again, leads me to believe, like, not only leads me to believe it's not permanent. Now, not only that, it's also more so, I don't think it's permanent because it's been, what, 5 seasons? 5.5? And it's something to where it's like, what that comes down to is Adrian and Marinette are Ladybug and Cat Noir. Like, they are. That is who they are. That is their characters. That is what it's been for the past, what, 7, 8 years? You know, that combined with, again, you know, that lack of, you know, I guess, emphasis. There's no way it's permanent, right? And if it was, then the show is just, like, done. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, the show, like, if it's permanent, then the show is just done, because it's like, okay, it's not even Ladybug and Chat Noir, because it's not them, right? It's the new replacements. And it's like, it's just not. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, it's not permanent in the sense to where, what would you call it? Like, you know, what was I going to say there, right? I was going to relate it to something else the show did that they never committed to. You know, I guess it's not permanent in the sense that, you know, where am I going with this? It's just, like, same thing with the love square. She's like, you know, you thought they were going to invert it, right? But, you know, it wasn't permanent. Like, this isn't permanent either, right? Because there'd just be no reason. Oh, yeah, it's like, it'd be the same level of, like, Adrianette isn't the end game. If Adrianette isn't the end game, you know, then the show's done, right? It was a waste. If Marinette and Adrian aren't Ladybug and Chat Noir, then the show's done. It was a waste, right? Because, like, this is who they were for, what, 4.5 seasons? All that character development, literally just to, like, snap your fingers, erase their memories. You know, and you got new superheroes, it's like, okay, you know, thanks for wasting 5.5 seasons worth of time. Again, it's just, there's no way it's permanent. Like, I don't know what else to say. You know, I'm going to watch the second part right now. 50-50 chance they get him back. But it's just not permanent. Because if it is, then the show is just done for. Like, I don't know what else to say. And that's where I'm going to end off here. So, I'm going to end it here so I can just get right into that second part. And then I'll make another video off of that. But with that, you know, I don't really have anything else to say on that. So, yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.